All right. What's up, guys? We're back with another I guess coming out story for Pride Month, but I have a special guest with me here today. Jess, Jay, or as I found you online is like Jkiillem, and I see you just going around with a microphone asking people, and I'm like so intrigued by the way, number one, that you're interviewing people, but I love what you're asking too, and it was amazing. So thank you for joining us, and I'm excited to have this conversation today.
Me too. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So first and foremost, holy ripped body. You do a lot of work, I can tell. I'm sure the listeners are like, if you don't already follow, check the show notes because I'll put all the links in there. But yeah, you're jacked, man.
I've been training for I want to say almost 12 plus years now. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
shows.
some dance moves as well. Like you just caught my attention in so many different ways. Like I'm like, okay, she's ripped, she can dance, she's doing the thing out there. I really wanted to have you come on. So tell me a little bit like about what you do and where you're at.
Yeah. So I moved from Jersey in 2011 after I graduated high school, and then I went to college at Cal State Long Beach and Santa Monica. I jumped around a lot of colleges, but that was kind of the theme of my life. Like I just kept jumping around. So as soon as I got to California and I started doing that, I realized I could just branch into so many different things. And I always felt like I had so many talents and skills that I could use. I just didn't know like what I fit into. And I also wasn't out yet. So I came out after I graduated college in 2014. So I was late, I was a little late bloomer, about 22, 23 years of age.
So
20,
wait.
yeah, 8 now. So I've only been out for about like 6, 7 years, but I was straight, quote unquote, and it was interesting time in my life. But I actually came out to a girl. So you hauled back to the East Coast for about 3 years, and then after a couple relationships and stuff, I was still like lost. I had about I want to say at least 15 plus jobs that I just jumped like I said I just jumped around a lot, and I didn't like any of them. I didn't like working for people, and eventually I moved back to the West Coast, to LA to figure out how I can just find what I need to do in life. So Crave is one of the biggest lesbian festivals that happens yearly. This is before COVID, and I decided I'm just gonna get a new car. I'm gonna pack all of that stuff, all my stuff in my car, and just drive back by myself. So I did. I did that in 4 days, and I had no plan. I just had my family friend's back house that I was able to stay in for a little bit, and my car and some of my stuff. And I literally got there 4 days before the festival, and I just jumped into the festival by myself. And I ended up on almost every stage, almost behind almost booth. Like I just met every single person I wanted to meet. And my idea, I guess, was to like train people. Like I said, I was a trainer, so people online were like, "Yeah, I'm down for that." But when I got here, nobody was down, and I was kind of panicking. But after the festival, I realized, oh shit, I see what I can do here. And I realized because I got my bachelor's in film, but I never really wanted to like do like actual business film stuff. I just thought it was too much. I didn't like the rules of everything, and they made me feel like I wasn't ever going to be good enough. So I realized, I did have that skill, and people out here need content. So I just filled that gap in really quickly. By I think it was like maybe that same month, I was at my first taste event with DJ P Nasty, and I just managed to pull out a camera that I had that wasn't even that good, and it was a mess of a night. But I managed to make a really decent video because she went out on a limb and gave me a chance. And it was just, I think it was just the universe really putting things together because after that, I stuck with them ever since. We've been together as a group for almost 3, 4 years now. And I managed to get clients from that festival that were my friends and now my good friends, and just make a business. So I rebranded my business, and now I full-time do videography, photography, and I've to branch that out to this point where I hire people who are also in the community to work with me as videographers and photographers. And yeah, it just kind of exploded into so many other things outside of video, as far as like the networking that I did and the community that I found. So that's kind of what it was in a nutshell. It happened really quickly, and it's been about 3-4 years now where I've been back out here just kind of going crazy and all types of things.
Whoa. All right. So the podcast name is The Stories We Tell. And what it's about is really like empowering people, maybe things that you used to tell yourself that held you back, and then now what you tell yourself that helps you do it. First of all, packing up your car with no plan, going across country. Good for you, man. And then to make things happen, like so many people would get there and be like, all right, I don't know anybody. I'm gonna go to this. Maybe I'll go to this festival, but I'm not gonna talk. But you really just made it all happen, and that's insane.
Yeah, I think well, actually, I didn't even go there thinking I really knew I was going to go there. I was like, I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to be the most extroverted person ever. I'm not that person, but I think also years prior when I lived in the East Coast, there was actually a decent gay scene. And when I was out, like I got out of relationships and I was kind of gay and single for the first time. I was going crazy. I did so much stuff. I just knew that something in me was telling me throughout all these random jobs that like I needed to be in the entertainment scene and around all these gays. Like I just needed to be here and meet all these people. So I just studied everything. I studied how to network, I studied even like doormen and security guards and like how they run clubs. I just was very observant. So I managed to bring all those skills here. And now I'm trying to branch into more of that entertainment field because of all that studying and experience. And especially these past 3 years of working with Taste, like that's definitely where I'm at now. So yeah, it was just a lot of like, I'm going to push myself. And I remember meeting Easy and Natalie, a couple of influencers and stuff, and just being like, hey, like, I just wanted to meet you, like Amber's Closet, like all the people. And now they're all my really good friends. So it's like, it managed to really work out because I just had that mindset going into it.
Yeah, it really is. Mindset is everything in how you get it. And honestly, you said you didn't, the film industry made you feel like you wouldn't have been successful, but I mean, you are.
Well, the industry, I guess, like the way that college, especially, like I didn't even get into the field of being able to study what I wanted. It was like the theory of it. So it was like the back end of the film degree. So like I just had to study and watch films and write papers. Like I didn't get to actually do film stuff until the last year. And I remember being in an editing class I was so excited for my senior year. And we didn't even use the software that I'm usually ready to use. It was like outdated software that nobody uses. So like the way that they would talk to you, the way that they would say like, it's so difficult to find a way, and even have friends who are actually doing it, like they're PAs and they've been PAs for years and they just have to grind and make their way up the ladder. Like, I just think that's all bullshit. I just think that like, if you have a talent and a skill, you could do it in a way that serves people that need it. And that's how I see it. Like we needed really high quality content and I was able to fill that gap in.
Hell yeah. And that's the beauty of social media, right? Is like you don't need to go the old way, the old school way. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So I want to ask you about your coming out story, but first I really do want to know, because I watch your videos and stuff, but I don't know a whole lot about you, which is amazing. I like having interviews like that because I'm really getting to know you right now. What is like your I can tell you're a passionate person. I can tell that you're doing the thing. Like, what's your plan? What's your vision? What's your purpose?
Yeah. So when I figured out that like our community needs help in so many ways, like with video, I started branching into other things like dance and the entertainment industry and just different things that I realized are just, everything is severely underfunded, really disrespected. It's just very like, we still have a long way to go. And I just feel in me like a very innate need to like help that out. So I'm like dedicating my life to like this entertainment stuff, and like it's a lot. Like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stuff that people don't realize, because when you're in this field, it's all about fun, and like especially now when it's Pride, it's like let's just have a good time. But like it's work. It's a lot of work. And you know how Pride came along. It was like a riot at first, and it was like we need recognition. We need to be represented in this world properly. And I think that's what I'm trying to do, is just continue that. So I want to use my image and the things I've done to build myself to this point where I'm like not only respected in our community, but also represented in these bigger industries that actually have funding and actually have ways to get us into buildings and give us money and all these things that we severely need. Like, I don't know a lot of lesbians that have like a lot of money and like a lot of land and power. Like, it's very hard for us to have that. So I think if I can get my foot into these doors, especially with the white passing privilege and certain things where, I'm not as threatening, quote unquote, like, I just think that it's super important that I can use those things to get people on my end, the people that really need it, through my ability and work of just trying to get our faces out there. And I think also with, especially the media, I think I'm really able to show people that, I mean, that's my biggest thing with videography is I don't go to the white audiences or the male audiences or the heteronormative audiences. I go to people that need it. And the friends that I have that are amazing artists and businesses and stuff. And I give them great video to show the world what they can do. And that way they grow, we grow, I grow. And it's just, we're keeping the money in the circle. And I think the more that we do that, the more that we stop spending on these big businesses and putting all our time and investments into those places, the more that we will slowly get there and where we need to be.
Oh, yeah. So let me ask for listeners and also for myself, specifically when you say there's not funding for, like, what specifically are you talking about? Like,
I mean,
lesbians or what?
Yeah, look at anything that we do, like even Pride, like LA Pride is sponsored by TikTok this year and it went off well. But at the end of the day, if you compare that to any other festival in the world, it doesn't even touch the surface. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. Like, our entertainment company Taste has grown a lot, especially these past 3 years. But it's still extremely hard to even just find a venue, one, that will respect you, two, that will, just give you the space and the safety and the things that we need to run events. And then three, to find an audience that actually will spend enough to be there and to have those things. And it's just hard to make these big things and these big venues and festivals and stuff happen. Like, I was just talking to the owner who runs Crave last night, and she was telling me she's not sure if she can do it because it's just so much money. And it's just hard because I think also, lesbians don't spend as much. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the more that we build each other, the more that we're able to spend and just, have these bigger things for each other and have bigger spaces and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, what it all comes down to is the money at the end of the day. That's how our country runs, right? So the more that you can empower yourself and the people around you, that's how we make it happen, right? What would you want anyone listening, like, if they could support you in any way to help make that happen? Well, what would that look like?
I think just, booking me in any way. If you want me to come dance for you at a party or a private event or one of your festivals, I'm down for that. Also, my circle, my friends, if you need somebody for something and that needs a skill, I probably know somebody that could do that for you, as well as, videography, photography, of course. I can help provide any type of promo that you need. And then if you want like an actual lesbian centered event, women only event, then I can tell my Taste crew to come through your city. Things like that. I just think, everything that I do is all built and based off of community. So as long as we can, get there for you, just support us and book us and we'll be there.
You got to come out to St. Pete, Tampa area. You ever out in this way? Also networking, like, this is why I'm doing this here, is like, I agree, like, we gotta just kind of have each other's back, and networking is the best way to do that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I can hear you. So I originally wanted you to come on and speak about your coming out story, but I kind of like the conversation. Like, do you want to share a little bit about maybe how you came out and how that happened?
Yeah. I came out, like I said, at 22, 23. I technically came out at age 6. Like, I knew when I was a kid. I remember this specifically. I was at a park and I got back in the car when my mom was picking me up and I'm crying and I'm like freaking out crying. And she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I think I like this girl." Like, I don't know who I was with. I was with somebody. And I had strong feelings for her. And she didn't say anything for like a minute straight. And like the silent minute that she gave me, honestly, threw me off for the next 22 years, or how long that was, like 18 years. And I don't know what it was, because after she was quiet, she was like, it's okay, you can be who you are. And it's funny because I actually readdressed that later after I came out, but I'll get to that. But yeah, so I came out then, and then after that, I think the pressures from school and that silence from my mom and things like that just really set me to a point where, like, I don't know if this is right, and it doesn't feel right. So I kind of shut it down so hard that I didn't even like realize anymore. And I tried to dress more feminine and all these things, and I had boyfriends, and I was even having sex with these guys, and I didn't like any of it. I just thought that, because of society and these rules, like, this is how it's supposed to be. Even as far as sex, like, I was like, oh, it's supposed to suck. Like, it's supposed to not be the greatest. And yeah, once I was on Instagram, I remember I was in my apartment, and here in California, I was like maybe junior in college. I had this girl like on my page for like a month straight, like hard-eyesing my pictures and stuff. And I was like, this is like weird behavior. Like, I don't know how I feel. But then I started looking at her page. And I was like, like, I think I like this girl. So I remember messaging her this whole thing. Like, I think I have feelings for you. I've never felt this way about a girl before. I hope you're okay with that. And she, of course, everybody knows like that your first is horrible. So she took advantage of it. She was a lot older. She had a kid. She lived on the East Coast, and she was just like eating it up. And she was a narcissist and all this stuff. So she was like, I'm gonna take you under my wing and your life. But I didn't think that. I was just like, yeah, it's great. So I got to know her. She visited maybe 3 months later, and that visit should have done it for me. Like, it was one of the worst visits ever. Like, it was one of the worst nights of my life, and it was very traumatizing. And I remember like, you gotta go, but she couldn't. And of course, we had a lot of sex, and we just ended up getting back. It was fine. And at the time, I thought that was like the best sex of my life too. Like, I didn't know any better. So we managed to be long distance for another 8 months, and then I moved to the East Coast and lived with her and her child. And we actually moved again in the same city. And I think the second home and all the disrespect, I literally got to a point where I wasn't eating. I lost a lot of weight. I had digestion issues. I had to get a colonoscopy because I was so messed up internally. And I remember them telling me the results. It was like just because of stress. And I was like, wow, I'm actually really sick from the amount of stress and just horribleness that is in this relationship. So I had to really break away as hard as I could, because it was very hard to get out of that. And yeah, that was my coming out. And then after that, I was like, fuck this. I'm out here in the streets. I was out at every Pride festival. I went to Atlanta. I went like all over the East Coast, almost every single Pride for all of June. I was going nuts, and I had the best time of my life. And then, yeah, that was like the start of my journey for sure.
Why are the first ones always like that?
That's what I'm saying.
I had a similar experience, and it's a lot. So you just did. How did your family take it when you actually came out?
I remember everybody was very, very supportive. My mom took about 2 years to like fully come around. She was like asking a lot of questions, and then when I would visit home, I would be like, I want to buy like a tie and like a suit, and she was like, no, that's too much. And I remember like it took about a couple of years, and then I remember going shopping with her again. She's like, oh, this would look great on you, and it was like all masculine clothes. And I was like, yeah, see, like. So now we're cool, like very, very good. My whole family, my mom, my dad, and my sister, though, they were like, we knew it. Like,
Yeah.
Could have bet on it. So that was the whole thing. But yeah, it didn't take too long. But like I said, my mom, I had a discussion with her about that time when I was 6, after I came out. It's actually on my YouTube channel. And I discovered that while I was filming it. But basically she said like she was afraid, like it was too soon. Like back then, like it was too much for me as a young kid to be able to handle the amount of shit that would come with me being gay. She just wanted to protect me, but I don't really still think that was the right choice, but yeah.
What I do, I'm a mindset and empowerment coach, and I specialize in neuroencoding, which talks about the brain. And our brains from 0 to 7 are the most impressionable, and the littlest thing can follow you through your entire life without even, realizing it. And something like that is huge. Yeah. Well, it's good that she came around. My mom was similar. It took her a few years too, but now she's all about it.
Yeah.
So it will now, so then you made it back over there and doing the thing. What is like on the horizon for you? What's coming up next that you're excited about?
Um, well, if you were to ask me that like last year, I would have been like, I want a new place, and I actually managed to make that happen. So now I'm currently in a like a loft studio that I managed to make into like a photo studio and a dance studio, so people can come use that, and I want to use that for the community. So check that off. I also checked off being able to hire people and bring people onto my team. But ideally, in the future, I want to be able to really be at advanced level with everything that I'm doing. So with Taste and our entertainment company, I want to be able to, take over most of the biggest things in across the country, across the world, and then partner with some of the bigger lesbian events around the world too. And I just want us to feel like we have more support, more funding, and more ability to do things, because we're still very severely restricted, like I said. And as far as everything else, I feel like that's my thing. Like I just want my videography, my photography to feel like it can be more successful and more supported, more funded. Because like I want to pay my employees more. I want to have more clients that are in the bigger fields that we can, start traveling and doing bigger things with. So I think it's just all centered around that. I just want to expand because I found like what I'm doing and what it is. I'm here, I'm living in it. So now I just need to get it to a bigger picture and reach more people and make a bigger impact.
Hell yeah. Well, you talked about the universe at the beginning. I call it Gus. It's God, universe, source, spirit, like whatever works. So Gus, I feel like Gus works in mysterious ways, and um like nothing is on accident. So maybe somebody who's listening to this will help you come along and help, take it to the next level, or who knows, connect you with somebody who connects you with somebody and stuff like that. Cause I don't know, there's a million people I could have asked to come join and speak, and you just kept coming up in my feed and coming up in my feed. So
Yeah.
who knows, maybe there's a greater purpose.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, is there anything that you would like? So I often ask people the last question that I would ask, and I kind of want to switch it up. So normally I would ask, what would you tell your childhood self, like some advice, but what would you tell maybe somebody that is younger than you, that is just, recognizing that they might be a lesbian or gay or whatever, and like feeling kind of like worried about life? What could you, words of wisdom or advice could you give them to help them understand that it's okay, it gets better, and to keep going?
Well, one, go watch because I have older videos and a lot of it's basically like a library of my experience and also helpful videos to help people who are younger, who need advice and stuff like that. I'm very real and raw on my channel. And two, I'm like a living example. Like I really was there. I was from a small town. I didn't feel like, I needed or I had enough support, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt like, especially a kid who was bullied and didn't know who they were and all those things, you just come from a place where it was rough. So now you're at a place where you're respected by a lot of people, and you're known by a lot of people, and you're able to get into a lot of doors and provide opportunities for the other people, and just be a positive reflection of what should be happening in our community. Because a lot of people can be very toxic, and especially in the entertainment industry, it's pretty nasty. So, people who do have positive intentions and do want to do better things are existing and are out here. And it's a beautiful life. And I think there's so much to look forward to, especially nowadays with social media technology, everything that's progressing. It's like, who knows how it's going to be in the next 10, 30 years. Like, it's going to be insane as far as how lesbians are and our community and everything. I think it's like, we're just starting because at TikTok, like our exposure and our representation is going out the roof, and people don't know how to handle it. I get all the day, every single day, I get straight girls like, I don't know what to do with this. And it's like, you probably aren't straight, So it's like, there's a lot of people that are changing their lives and seeing so much fast representation and examples all day long. And I think it's important that, as long as you take time to reflect and you take time to explore, and that's what I'm big on. Like, people ask me how I got here. It's just big on like put yourself in a lot of uncomfortable, random situations all the time. And if you're able to bounce back from those and learn from those, you'll be able to progress and do a lot of other things with your life, because I would not be who I am if I didn't just force myself to jump into these random clubs or these random events or relationships or whatever. I just feel like being more open-minded of experiencing will help you grow exponentially. So definitely just throw yourself into stuff, a lot of gay stuff if you're into that, because it's fun.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, so TikTok over the last 2 years, I actually have a whole new niche market that I work with, which is late in life lesbians that need a coach to kind of guide them through because they realized they were gay on TikTok. That's what I do. It's funny, right? 2 years ago, it's like, what? And now all of a sudden TikTok. So even like 5 years from now, I'm excited to see what's to come. And the positive. I'm really happy that you came and spoke to us because really the community, the LGBTQ plus community in general can be super toxic, right? And I didn't even imagine also the entertainment industry. And it's good. There are, I think, through social media, people that are stepping up and speaking their truth because they don't need that bigger organization to help them get ahead because we have social media at our fingertips, so we can have our morals and all those things in line and be who we want to be and not have to worry about, oh, they're not going to hire me because of that, because you have the people that like you.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember that, things like TikTok and things like parties and whatever, it is surrounded by a lot of toxic energy and a lot of toxic messages. They'll push that, and which I think is ridiculous. Especially these new ones and these little babies, like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, don't jump into these events with this crazy attitude, getting crazy drunk and start fighting. Like, we have that happen all the time. And it's just like, the bigger picture is we need to, like I've been saying, we need to grow together. We need to expand together. So the more that we, believe that and talk about it and live that life, the better that we will get as a group. And it's always comes down, and that's what community is. Like, we can't just have, some people participating. Like, we all need to have that mindset for us to really expand to get to this point, because it's super important. And for somebody like me who is, like I said, in these scenes and not only just in our community, but outside of it, like with my other clients, my higher paying clients who, have these mansions and these massive events, like, I see how much different the energy can be. And I see it, it's in my face. And I'm like, we could be here, we could easily be here, but it only happens when we all come together. So that's why I preach that all day long. And I think that's super important.
And hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And know that if you're in that community, people will suck you down because they're not happy within themselves. So search out the Jess, in the crowd and get around them, get around that energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just come with good intentions. It will find you.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you want to share with anybody before we leave? I am going to make sure to tag all your stuff in the description so they'll be able to find, you said YouTube, social media, all the social media, all the things. I'll definitely put that in the description, but what would you like people to know before we get going?
I don't know. I guess it's just important to keep in mind, like I was saying, like, just the bigger picture. And I think, when you're trying to find yourself and you're trying to find your niche and what you were good at, don't forget to bring everybody with you. Like, I think, especially in LA, like, that's what people get caught up in, is that, like, this is a very selfish area, and it's all about the image and the clout and stuff. And when you lose that, you get up there, and then all of a sudden, now what? You didn't bring anybody with you. Nobody's eating with you. Nobody's able to support you anymore. Nobody even likes you anymore because you got yourself to this point. It's like a fake reality with social media. So don't let that shit suck you in to the point where you lose yourself and your friends and your relationships. Like, go into these things knowing that, like, once I get my foot in here, I'm gonna bring everybody with me. You know what I mean? Like, because then everybody else is gonna live a better life, and that's how we all grow together. So you're gonna have way better support, a way better feeling in your chest, and a way better fulfillment in your life when you support everybody around you. So it's a message for myself to do, like, all of us, because it's turning it, like, I think with the way that everything's turning out with social media and technology, like, it's making us be very selfish. And it's like, that's why I love having these pride events and stuff, because it reminds you, like, this is so great. Like, when you see everybody else having a good time, like, that's how it needs to be. Like, we need to just make sure that we're all having a good time, not just you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I love your energy. I love your message, your mission. Any way that I can support you moving forward, I will, whether that be on social media or whatever you need, just always reach out and I'll do what I can do to help you. And hopefully, you know, we inspire some other people to do the same and just keep paying it forward for one another. And, you know, that's how we make some change, right? Is just not turn the other way, but stand up, hold yourself to a higher standard and do the damn thing. So I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you spending time and taking your time to come on.
No, thank you so much. And hey, if you can get me out to Florida, let me know. I'm out there.
Well, let's go. Tampa St. Pete is waiting for you. You know. All right. Thank you so much. Guys, that was Jkiillem.
Thank you so much. I had a great time. Appreciate it.
I forget how to stop recording. Oh, there we go.